You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Keys to the City. I'm your host, Trevor Keys, alongside Big Brother T3. I started laughing because I thought you were dancing while the music was going on, like the song was going on, but then I saw you getting your microphone, so I was waiting for the dance. I was waiting for the dance moves, bro. I was waiting for the dance moves.
No, I was actually looking up stuff for.
You could have just went. See, you just gotta go with it.
I'm not. I'm going to tell the truth.
You're gonna tell the truth. I love it. Ted's
looking up more information to be
Ted,
able
can
to.
I call you something then? I'm gonna call you a sophisticated man now.
Yeah, you know what you should do is take that jacket off, throw it away.
Whoa. I'm feeling good. Ted.
Sure, feel good.
I'm
Now
feeling
with that
good
on.
right now. I think we both. I think we're both speaking from each other. We're feeling good now. We're feeling a lot better. But I'm feeling great. We are Keys to the City. You can check us out on all social media platforms. So don't forget to hit that like or subscribe button. I was just thinking, like a week ago today. I think around this time too, we were doing something. I don't remember what time, but my whole mood was a hell of a lot different than what it is today. Think about it, how times have changed, Ted. Remember what we talked about last week for first part of the show was why the football and sports gods have an issue with me.
Well, you were also talking about how drunk you were going to get and maybe wouldn't watch the Super Bowl. Now I guess you'll be able to watch it front and center.
I guess he's got a good memory because that is also true. That was spoken a week ago. Oh my, how times have changed. Look, I'm going to stand with what I said last week. I was still very frustrated, but I will sit here and say, thank you. This feels like a nice Christmas gift because I didn't do any Christmas shopping for myself. So I feel like this is a Christmas gift, a late Christmas gift as what a refreshing start to this NFL playoffs. So let's just say that. I would say it's a refreshing start. It's something fantastic. I mean, everything. Think about how this whole playoffs went down this wild card weekend. Can I ask you, how do you feel about this super wild card weekend since it's become implemented into a reality for us? How do you feel? Do you like this super? I mean, more football, the better, right? Do we have a problem with more football?
Absolutely. Don't worry. I'm listening. I'm paying attention.
No. It's fine.
I honestly thought having the 2 games each day was great.
Yeah, right. I mean, think about what this game had.
Especially because yesterday was the Martin Luther King Day, so everyone had the holiday off. So yeah. I think just having 2, 2, and 2 was great because it's.
Wonder what the ratings were yesterday.
Because especially, with that being said, you got the, I get it. Sunday, you got the 3 games, and that's great. You got the 2 on Saturday, usually 1. But, if one's kind of a dud, it's like, whatever. But at least you get 2, you know what I mean? And the Bills game was actually pretty exciting for somewhat of the game. I mean, there was a good –
if you think about how –
I would say half of the game, take the middle out and maybe the last end of it, the majority of the middle of the game was actually pretty good. And we had at one point a 7-point game with the Steelers having an opportunity to tie. So I thought that was great. And then, but honestly, there's 2 storylines that stand out for the whole weekend.
But that's what I'm thinking about. Okay.
I'll just say this, and then you get into what we were going to say.
And then we're going to go right into. We're going to get right into it. So
I know, but before we watched last night's game, I told you I thought one of the biggest storylines that I was going to say was the young or rookie quarterbacks.
Oh well, let's wait.
The weekend, but then you corrected me and said Jordan Love's not a rookie. I said I get it, but it's his first full season, first full game. The way him and C.J. Stroud played over this weekend, I thought were tone setters for both of those franchises going forward.
Franchise altering players right now.
And then after, and of course the second and most significant storyline that we'll probably talk majority of the show about is how, well, first we thought it was just going to be about the Cowboys and their debauchery and what really happened to the Cowboys. And I don't think anyone even came close to seeing that. But then you watch last night's game, and I don't even know if that last night's game might have been worse than the Cowboys loss.
It was worse because
if you watch that Philly game, it almost seemed like that team had quit. And that's almost worse than losing the way the Cowboys lost on Sunday.
As you're speaking about this, right? Think about how the playoffs started. A rejuvenated,
and blowouts. And we had a lot of blowouts.
But listen. I'm thinking about what you were just saying as we spoke about it. Think about how this postseason started. A rejuvenated, excitement from that Houston crowd and a new journey and a new beginning for a franchise that just had a huge dark cloud over them. And that is long gone. And think about that. And then look how the playoffs, the wild card weekend ended for a team that was had such great and high expectations to what they ended up becoming. And that's how at the end of their season. So one team is like looking to the future. Their future looks bright. And then one team has another lot of questions to answer. But this whole wild card weekend had it all. I mean, you got to think about it. You had the upsets, according to the critics and the people out in Vegas. There were some upsets in this wild card weekend, which was excellent for, hey, we had a bracket. We posted it. Who cares? I don't really care about the bracket. As long as this playoffs didn't have Philly and Dallas, in which they did.
Yeah, I'm glad I was wrong.
You had the weather. Think about the weather. The Kansas City and Buffalo game. You had performances. I won't say like great games. Maybe outside the Lions-Rams game was excellent. Everything else was kind of a dud in certain terms. But there was more about the performances. And Ted just brought it up. CJ Stroud and Jordan Love are the first two names that come to mind after this weekend. So if you're a football fan and it's Super Bowl wild card weekend, and there's only a few more weeks left until the season comes to an end, but it was a hell of a wild card weekend. I mean, it was a hell of a wild card weekend for football fans. And like I said, it's a refreshing start because you got a Houston Texans team that shouldn't even be here, but they are. A Green Bay Packer team that shouldn't even be here, but they are. And then you're gonna have some new teams. And Kansas City, Buffalo. You heard of the song, Ted. Hello, darkness, my old friend. You got a familiar foe coming to you guys in Buffalo. We'll talk about that later in the week. AFC divisional playoffs, NFC divisional. It's a hell of a weekend coming for us football fans. But there's only really one thing to talk about from this weekend, and we are Giant fans. And yes, people have been saying, "Oh, all the haters are coming out." Well, for all the Cowboy and Eagles fans that talk your shit throughout the season, shut up. Don't say something. Don't say anything, because you haven't won anything, and you certainly didn't win anything after this weekend.
Yeah, we know we didn't win anything.
So last week, Michigan was the national championship, but that's okay. It makes up for having Dallas get their asses kicked. And then the Philadelphia Eagles getting bitch slapped by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Speaking of rejuvenated, Baker Mayfield looks like if he could possibly get a good contract. Just saying, he's playing all right. That game could have been a blow, but think about these two franchises right now. Hold on. How about this, Ted? Think about the NFC East picture as a whole right now. The Eagles are a debacle. The Cowboys, we don't need to speak upon them because we just saw an embarrassment. The Giants, again, we don't need to speak about them. They have coaches fighting one another. It doesn't look good right now. The best team that might have to, out of all of them, is the Washington Commanders. They got a new GM, Adam Peters. They're gonna have a new head coach, and they got the number 2 pick. So if you look at this NFC East whole right now, it looks like, I just said it not too long ago, it looked like a shit show as a division, which was once the best. 3 teams in the playoffs last year, 2 teams made it this year, but both teams getting embarrassed.
But you know what? You could relate that similar to the AFC South. We thought the whole AFC South was going to be a debauchery, and we got a Texans team, which right now we got a quarterback that after the season should be considered every year an MVP candidate. You got a coach that might or should probably win Coach of the Year in DeMeco Ryans. They're only going to get better. You assume, right? You still got the Jaguars with young Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
The Colts have Anthony Richardson, and I think a healthy Anthony Richardson, we could see what he can do. That team overachieved this year with Gardner Minshew. Just read a report. Colts are a favorite to go get A.J. Brown. So that would be a huge –
Brown.
Hey, they need a move.
Wait, A.J. Brown's going to get traded? Where is this coming from?
Look it up. Oh, yeah.
No way, really?
I think he wants out of Philly. Swear to God, there's a lot of shit going on. Dallas got her last night screaming at Hurts.
Yeah, it doesn't look good right now, Ted. And you kind of just said, you kind of hit on before we hit on the show or we came on. If you're looking at both of these franchises and you're one of these head coaches, because Mike McCarthy and Nick Sirianni look like they're going to get canned.
I would rather have the Dallas job. I would rather have the Dallas job.
You want to be put in the situation of possibly losing 2 of your best or one of your best players because of the fact that you might have to figure out a quarterback decision?
Yeah, I'd still rather have the Dallas job as much as I hate Dallas. And I don't need to brag or like whatever about the Dallas losing and all this other stuff. And it is what it is. The Dallas fans, they have to live with it. They have to live with a team that knowing that this was their best team they probably had in 25 years. They had the number two team. They were 16-0 at home. They were averaging almost 40 points a game. You felt like this team minimum was. Listen, I thought they were getting to the NFC Championship.
We both thought.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, listen, the Eagles.
I think most people, dude. I think most people felt going into this NFC picture in playoffs, the one team that outside of 49ers and Dallas that had a possibility of making it was the Detroit Lions. Most of the people would have been 49ers if you ranked the teams and you had a poll and you ranked and you voted. Overwhelming would have been the 49ers. The second would have been the Cowboys.
And then and Detroit maybe the third.
Yeah, no, without question they would have been the third. Who was going to be else?
And I had no faith in anyone else in the NFC. But if that's what makes it exciting in playoffs
at the time.
And I'm glad I was wrong.
Did Mr. Jordan Love change your mind on that? We'll talk about that a little. We'll talk about that in a little though.
I was wrong with my picks. I had picked the Eagles to win, but you know what?
So was I, bro.
That was a dumb pick. I just didn't have the balls to take the Bucks. All right.
Thank you for bringing that game up because who won that? That's why I'm the great picker.
Well, no, listen.
I knew.
I just chose me. I should have switched the pick once AJ Brown wasn't going to play.
Should have yelled two as well. But
watching one of the shows, I'm like, you know what? I just felt like, you know what? After everything, the Eagles would at least they would rallied around
the whole. Rally it all around. I get it.
To get one win, and I get it. Debauchery. Dallas. I mean, come on. No one saw that, and especially the way they lost.
It was more embarrassing.
I definitely saw the Chiefs win. I also saw the Bills win. The Texans game I thought would be close.
No. What was more of an embarrassing performance? And what game? I definitely think the game that we're more shocked by is Green Bay, obviously. But what was more of an embarrassing performance? Was it the team that quit or the team that just was not mentally prepared? And I kept telling you, Mike McCarthy, he was always going to be this biggest downfall of this team. And this team was not prepared.
Well, not at all. I would say Dallas for three reasons. One, because they had the number 2 seed. So you had the home field advantage. Philly was on the road. 2, Dallas had been playing for the majority of the time, playing really well. They had been playing really well. I think their only 2 losses in the last month and a half was at Buffalo and at Miami.
And what was your third reason?
Oh, and then the competition, the 2 seed playing Green Bay. Like you had a really young team, Jordan Love, the youngest team in football, your home field advantage. This was your best opportunity, best team, and you really were not going into the playoffs with any kind of bad mojo. The Eagles, you felt something was wrong. They had just lost to the Giants, and the way they lost to the Giants last week of the season, when you look at the whole final picture of the Eagles, they were falling apart the last month of the season, and Dallas wasn't. So that's why when you look at it, I'm like, all right, Dallas had everything in front of them. So for them to lose, and then to lose, dude, they gave up 48 points.
It was 48 to 16.
The Giants don't score 48 points in 3 games. Teams don't score 48 points in 2 games, okay? They get 48 points at home.
Ted, can we consider both of these teams?
If Green Bay could have, they would have scored more.
Could have, and Tampa. And
the only reason why the game became close by point level was Green Bay just played prevent defense the last 7 minutes.
And they put their backups.
Yeah, defense too. Kenny Clark was out. Aaron Jones. They had to bring Jordan back up when they got it close. But it's the Dallas game because they had. Listen, I think if you ask all fans, even Philly fans, like who do you think who had more of a chance to get to the final? It was the Cowboys. It wasn't the Eagles. The Eagles were rolling the dice and hoping they didn't get snake eyes. They rolled it on the first try. They saw Frankie Coffee Cake's face, and it was over with. It was it. Eddie Mush, it was done. Over. You know what I mean? The Cowboys had everything. They had everything in front of them. This was the year. They had the best receiver. Ted, they had the best receiver in football in CeeDee Lamb.
Was he better than Tyreek?
This year, I mean, his numbers were. I think Tyreek got hurt at the down the stretch. CeeDee Lamb was, if not the second best receiver in all of football. 135 catches. Then you had Dak Prescott for the majority of the season after the first part was an MVP quarterback. He played like it. He played like the guy that every Dallas Cowboy fan had hoped he would finally play, right? The defense was dominant, and they had home field advantage.
And they didn't play anybody this year.
We know that.
Who was more of a fraud? It's
funny. But if you look at Philly last year, Philly did the same thing. Philly had a weak schedule. People knocked Philly last year for not playing anyone, but Philly got to the Super Bowl and the Cowboys didn't.
And they were this close to almost winning the Super Bowl. So can't compare.
No.
You can't compare because you just said it. You just said it. Dallas, this was their best opportunity since since I was a little baby, little baby. But we shouldn't be surprised about this game. It's the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys. Do you want to know something, Ted? Do you know the Packers
5-0 against the Cowboys?
Do you know the Packers are 10-1 versus Dallas since 2009, including playoffs?
Do you know Green Bay has more wins at Dallas Stadium than the Cowboys do in the playoffs?
That's including a Super Bowl. It's including a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Remember, Aaron Rodgers beat them, and then he just beat them again. And
then they won the Super Bowl there against Pittsburgh. But also, too, the Cowboys' playoff record since 96 is 5-13. 8-1 and dones. 21 more teams have more wins than the Cowboys.
The Texans who started their franchise in 2002.
Yeah. That's the Dallas Cowboys. That's the state of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to keep going with the Dallas Cowboys in the sense of saying that this is going to be, I keep giving them that false hope. Because the moment I push, I back away and I kind of put a foot on the brake, they start to break my heart. So I'm going to continue to say, let's go. We got to continue to give this false hope. And then they end up losing. But to see how both of these performances went down, think about it. Matter of 24 hours or a little over 24 hours, it went from, we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys debacle to the embarrassment that was the Philadelphia Eagles for 60 minutes. I mean, we're talking about base. I'll say the Eagles, Ted. You can't have a team that quits. You made the playoffs and you quit. Like, that team quit. I know Dallas got embarrassed, but that team literally and figuratively quit. They stopped tackling. You're playing the game of football. How do you stop doing one of the tasks, the main tasks at hand, especially being a defender in the league? Your main task and main job is to tackle. And how the hell do you not do that? So to see that, it's 100% to me the Philadelphia Eagles. I get it. The Dallas Cowboys, they were the number 2 seed. They had their best hope, and they had a favorable matchup playing at home. I get it. But they got embarrassed. The Philadelphia Eagles were coming in there looking like one of the worst teams to ever play in a playoff game. And we all thought that, hey, maybe there's an opportunity for them to surprise, like you said, Ted. Maybe put, all the critics and all the naysayers and put them all together and say, let's go, let's F everybody, and go against the world. And it was nothing different. Like, the last 3 weeks, they've lost to the Arizona Cardinals, who we right now know are a team that's in rebuild mode and not a good football team. The New York Giants, I don't really need to speak upon them because they're just a bad franchise right now. And then you go to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With Baker Mayfield, I get it. Baker's had his best season to date. His best season. But for them to lose the way they did and to literally give up, literally these guys breaking tackles left and right, just no effort. Then you got Goddard ripping Jalen a new one on the sidelines. And yeah, that's awful. If you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles today, you're embarrassed. You're embarrassed. Your franchise quit from a team that was, like, think about it, man. From a team that was just in the Super Bowl 11 months ago. We were literally watching them in the Super Bowl, and then they made some more additions. They get Jalen Carter. They had some pieces. They're like, oh, they're going to run it back. So they give Jalen the big contract. That's a whole nother story to figure out because I don't know how I feel about him as a quarterback.
I would put it this way.
But then think about it. And then think about it on top of it. To add everything, they were 10-1. They were the number 1 seed in the NFC. They had a 3-game lead in the NFC East. They blew it. This 1-6 span, they gave up an average. I totaled it all out. 30.5 points per game. They averaged only 18 points. So this was an offense that magically just went from 10-1 to 11-7 like this. It's one of the biggest choke jobs in recent sports memory. This is one of the biggest choke jobs you've ever seen.
When they were 10-1, AJ Brown was, and you know this because you had him on fantasy, was destroying the league. He was 5 straight games of 100+ yards and a touchdown.
I wanted to ask you a question.
He didn't have anything. The offense fell apart, and the defense. Think about it. They had almost an 18-point lead against Arizona at home. Lost to Arizona. Got crushed at Giants Stadium when they needed to win. They were down like 20-something points against the Giants.
24-0.
You look at the defense. There was a combination of a lot of things. This team was falling apart. and it's in a big hole. It's and it looked like they quit on their coach, Nick Sirianni, and all that. Here we go. And
that speaks for itself, man. I mean, I get it. Dallas looked embarrassed. It looked awful.
And then you got a lot of veterans on this team, which is surprising. Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey,
and that's on top of it. On top of it, and add more to it. You lose your Hall of Fame center.
Yeah,
he's retiring. Lane Johnson came out last night and said, I don't know if I want to be a part. Pretty much said, like, to me, what I heard is, I don't want to pretty much be part of something that's like going into this direction.
Brandon Graham.
Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. These are 4 guys that have been pillars to your franchise, and you might lose them.
AJ Brown.
These two teams need to.
Devontae Smith's going to want a new contract.
Because what happens if you run it back with these same teams?
First of all, you're not running it back.
I get it. What if they did? What if they did?
Well, let's start with one team. First of all, they're not running it back. First of all, you already know.
What if Jerry Jones said, "I love Mike McCarthy"?
Let's start with the Eagles.
Okay.
First of all, Kelsey's not coming back, so you're not running that offensive line back. What happens with Lane Johnson, we don't know yet, but we'll see what happens. And we know what happens every year.
I'm talking more in the sense of quarterback,
I get
coach,
it. Listen,
all that stuff.
There's news about AJ Brown. Let's see what happens. It's really early. Of course, there's always a lot of shit that goes on right after the playoff. We'll see what happens. Let's see if Sirianni's even back, because this is the coach. This is an organization has no problem firing coaches. Go look at Andy Reid. Consistency.
Doug Peterson.
He got let go. Doug Peterson got let go. Chip Kelly.
Super Bowl winning Super Bowl head coaches.
So you have coaches that have come in. They've had 3 coaches since Andy Reid got let go in 2012. You talk about an organization that's been a manner of success, and now they're talking about. I mean, think about it. A year ago, Nick Sirianni's coach of the year. Top of the mountain.
We've been saying it though.
And in less than a year, he could be out of a job. So
we've been saying it. Everything last year was perfect.
I get it. So let's move on. We know this is how the NFL goes. Just like every year, there's 8 new teams that need new coaches, and teams from the bottom, like the Texans, were supposed to be the worst team, and they find a quarterback, and they're in the playoffs now in the divisional round. It happens. We've seen this. You know what I mean? So,
boy, CJ, I'm so happy for CJ Stroud, man.
That's maybe the greatest thing about the NFL is we could see a team go from last to first, and first to last in a year with a couple changes, coaches, free agency moves.
It just happened a few years ago.
No, I get it.
You don't remember Mr. Joe Burrow?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You get the right.
Who's to say it can't happen again?
But the Eagles are going to have to make some serious decisions. They have I wish I took a screenshot of all the free agents they have, but that's like every other team. All right, the Cowboys have 16 unrestricted free agents. I was just looking at a thing before. We'll get into that in a second. But you look at the offense. Does AJ Brown want to be back? Is he going to get traded? Does someone offer a first-round pick for A.J. Brown, like the Colts or someone? What about the Texans? We've talked about this. Like, maybe the Texans don't because they like what they got and they're going to bring back takedown. But I'm just saying,
Jonathan
if you're
Taylor, Anthony Richardson.
I mean, you got to compete. Think about it. If you got to compete, the Jaguars have like a guy like Calvin Ridley and Kirk and Evan Ingram and Trevor Lawrence and ETN. So they got pieces. The Texans have Tank Dell and Nico Collins. They have Dalton Schultz. They like Singletary, but I told you here's a name that I don't think would happen. But if the Giants don't want to pay Barkley and they franchise him again, maybe the Texans come get Saquon. He would fit their scheme.
You know where Saquon's going to go, Ted?
The Cowboys.
Can you imagine if he did? That would be
they can't pay him. So here's the thing. Then you look at the
3 guys.
Then you look at the Eagles, right? They lost Gardner Johnson last year, but that's this year. What happens with the secondary guys? Slay just got hurt. Don't know what his injury was last night, but he got hurt. He's getting older. Could be a cap hit. Wasn't he going to leave last year, or they were going to possibly trade him?
Yeah, they released him and then they re-signed him.
Okay, so he's probably gone. Bradbury's probably gone. Yeah, Brandon Graham could be retiring. Fletcher Cox, he could be retiring. You know what I mean? Unless they're looking for,
they don't have no linebacker. They don't have no linebackers.
Shaq.
They lost T.J. Edwards and they lost who was
Hicks. Was it Hicks?
Oh yeah, Aaron Hicks.
Aaron Hicks.
I think it's Aaron. It's something Hicks. Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks.
Oh, Aaron Hicks. Oh my God.
There's a baseball player named Jordan Hicks. When I saw the Giants sign Jordan Hicks the other day, I was like, wait, what? And then I looked at the MLB.
Isn't that the relief pitcher
for the Cardinals?
Yeah, he throws like
105.
Yeah, 100. So and then last night, listen, and then I think the first thing the Eagles need to do is find their coach, figure out Sirianni's the coach, and you got to get Jalen Hurts healthy. He didn't look healthy. His finger, his elbow, his knees, he didn't look healthy. They got to figure that out first, and then work down the line. And
you better hope that he comes back next year healthy and has a good year. Because if he doesn't,
he's got plenty of extra rest.
I get it, but that's what I'm saying. He's got the rest now, extra rest. Go get taken care of. If he needs surgery, go get it taken care of. But if he comes back next year and has a year like he did this year, where I know the stats say he made 3,800 yards, 45 total, 4,500 total. I get it. He had the rushing touchdowns passing. But if he has another year where he kind of looks like he's taking a step back, we're going to be talking about a contract not named Daniel Jones. We're going to be talking about Jalen Hurts' contract because his contract is $250 million.
So what? That's just going to be relative to everything else. We know that.
I get it. Dallas is going to have to Dallas to get to Dallas now. So you said Philly. Philly needs to clean up house and get new coordinators. What's up?
Before we get into Dallas, and I had this just so I had it in front of me. So Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, they're up for contracts.
Big
Both
contracts.
are eligible for massive contracts. While Jones and company will undoubtedly like to keep them around, those two players this year,
they're going to be the two highest paid players at their position.
Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb combined this year made about $4.7 million. They're going to be making closer to $60 million combined next season. Okay?
Combined, then you got $60 million combined.
Combined when you
mean like almost like
30.
Their contracts are going to be their contracts.
No, like combined. You're talking years.
Oh, I know what you're. I got.
Then you got because Parsons going to want where Bosa was, closer to $30 million. Yeah. And CeeDee Lamb's going to want something where Tyreek Hill is at 30. And he's going to want to probably see what Justin Jefferson signs for. That's the two. And you got Jamar Chase.
And Jamar Chase, I was about to say.
Okay, so I got that. Then you got
Amon Ra is going to be getting a contract too.
Then you got Dak. Dak's a $36 million salary cap, but his cap hit next year is $59.4 million. So that means the Cowboys are going to have to give him an extension to ease that salary cap. Now, listen, I watched All Get Up yesterday. Dan Orlovsky, I love all the points in Bash. They're not letting go of Dak. And you can't let go of Dak because there's no better solution. I get it. Dak might not be the guys, but he can't be making $60 million.
What if they just fortuned everything to go get like Caleb Williams or something, hypothetically?
Nah. I wouldn't.
I'm just saying, but I would. Here's my thing about final part about this because we've been going on a while on this, so we got to get on to the next because there's some other great stuff that happened over Wildcard Weekend. It's just
but this is so much fun to talk about.
This is so much fun to talk about because we know now. Like I get it, they both had winning records, and the Eagles were in the Super Bowl last year. But now to see as a Giant fan what we've been dealing with, to see this come crashing down, like this is coming like one of those speed trains out in what's the underneath tunnel
Europe?
and
how about Europe?
No,
Japan.
I was gonna say Japan because the ones that just like it looks like it's going downhill like this with Dallas and Philly because they have a lot of figuring out to do in both of those franchises, and it feels so good that I do not have to get out of my mind on Super Bowl Sunday.
The only thing is I would say is they're still in a better position than the Giants because they have. They have their quarterbacks and we don't. You might not agree with their quarterbacks. You might not like their quarterbacks early, but they have a quarterback. They still have more pieces than the Giants do.
All I'm going to say is this is who they are. This is who Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott are. They've always been like this. In college, they were like this. Very good. They were great, good quarterbacks, but they weren't great. They couldn't do it. They couldn't win the big ones. I know Jalen Hurts is a national champion. I get it. But he still got benched too. And he also had everything perfect around him. Just saying.
College is different.
And then Dak Prescott, I don't need to say this. Go back and watch his college tape too as well. There was a time when the Mississippi State Bulldogs were the number one team in the college football, the first ever college football playoff ranking. They were the number one team led by Dak Prescott. They finished 10-3 that year. Just saying, this is what Dak Prescott's been known best for. So, Jerry, I hope that you give him $60 million per year. Please do us all a favor and give him the money. Show him the money. He deserves it. But, Ted, went on 29 minutes on that one. On the dot, 29 minutes. Just wanted to, but that's what happens when we love. I get it. We're Giant fans, and everybody's going to be like, well, you're Giants. Why are you even talking about them? Because you guys got embarrassed. Like, it's one thing if you guys lost a 3-point game or something, but you both got embarrassed.
Yeah, the last game I remember is the Giants beating Philly's ass at home.
Remember Giants beating Philly. Now we just got to get Dallas one time. But just to see Dallas get embarrassed like that and then Philly the next night on national TV, it doesn't get much sweeter than that for the Giants fans. Okay? So we as Giant fans are going to love this Because there's another
Well,
year.
and the other thing is the way they both lost. I think that's the biggest thing. I think the conversation about both these teams would not be as significant if both teams had lost a close game. But because both teams got blown out, one at home and one on the road, and the way they both lost, like one gave up 48 points and was down by 32 points at one point in the game. And then the way the Eagles lost last night to a Baker Mayfield team and a Tampa Bay team that was $89 million in dead cap space. 40 of it went to Tom Brady, who's been retired for a year. And they had one of the worst pass defenses in all football this year, and they got smoked.
Quick, before we get into the next part, who's the coach of the Eagles? Just give me quick. No, just give me the first name you think of. Eagles, Cowboys. Bam.
Who I think should be, or who I think they hire.
Who do you think they should?
I think Belichick goes to one of those organizations if they fire either coach.
Okay, so who's the franchise?
Howie Roseman.
No. Tell me the franchise. I told you.
We got to fire the coach first.
Okay, so
I can't tell you. Whoever gets fired,
throw it up. So who is it? Just say who. Because realistically, these guys are going to get fired. They're not staying.
I think if Bill Belichick wants to win a Super Bowl and he wants to win next year, he goes to Dallas. That would be the better opportunity to win. But he might rather go to Philly because of Howie Roseman and Worry, the owner, because he has a better relationship and he doesn't have to deal with as much bullshit from behind the scenes with Jerry Jones. Though Bill doesn't like to talk, so Jerry could do all the talking for him. So that could work out. And if Parcells went there, if Parcells went there and was able to do it, maybe Belichick.
I'm going to say the Eagles.
Last thing I want the Giants to say.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. Eagles, surprising. I think this could be a surprise. Mike Vrabel.
I was going to say that. Swear to God, I was just going to say that.
I love it. That's just like when week 1, Ted said, I knew Amon Ra was going to be the first guy to score this year. I knew it.
We're sitting at Dad's house watching the game, and I'm in my head. I swear to God, I go, I hope he throws a pick six right now. Son of a bitch. Next play.
Savage. The savage play, the savage pick.
Oh my God! I'm like, listen. I swear to God, if listen, people, you ready? I go, Dad, on you and Mom's and Grandma's life. I swear to God, like I was literally just think I just didn't want to say it because usually I say stupid things and then I jinx the situation. So I was like, I'll make this field goal and then he misses. So I didn't want to say anything and then it happened and I was like this.
I hate using terms like this nowadays, but that was such a savage play.
Dude, I was like, why can't I come up with lottery numbers?
Dude, it doesn't matter. The Eagles, Cowboys.
Dude, this year is just getting better and better for me. Better and better and better.
Well, I think things are looking up. Well, hopefully things are looking up for me because no matter what happens from here on out, no lie, I can be saying to me, this is like the greatest playoffs ever because of the fact that they both lost like that. But just to say, honestly, whoever plays from here on out, I'm looking forward to it because I don't need to worry about that anymore. So let's get into the other part of Super Bowl or Super Wildcard Weekend. When you think of like we were talking about, when we think of these two, when we think of the rest of the games, how can you not feel good for the Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans, and the Green Bay Packers? Think about it. Detroit Lions have been such a when you think of the Detroit Lions, you think of Barry Sanders, you think of Calvin Johnson. That's all you think of. That's all you think of. You don't think of anything else.
No, I think of losing.
When I'm talking about like franchises, like they got like Super Bowls, but when you think of like the Lions, you just think of Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson first thing, and the losing. That's what it's ultimately been. But to see that franchise drastically turn it around, Jared Goff looks like he's going to get a nice contract extension from them. Dan Campbell's the fucking man. Dan Campbell's man. I love Dan Campbell, man. I would love to have a guy like that as my coach. The way his enthusiasm, his presence.
You got to give credit to the organization for their draft.
I forgot who the GM was, but
Monte Brown, to Aiden Hutchinson, to Branch, to Penny Sewell, to Sam Laporta, to Gibb. And I was thinking about this the other day on the toilet. I'm thinking, you want to start. I do some of my best thinking on the toilet or in the shower, but I was thinking.
I guess supposedly that's true.
It is.
You're the only. But I know. I think you're the only one that thinks that.
You want to find out how teams get successful? It's in the draft. That's the one thing I could say about the Cowboys.
I was about to say Dallas does that.
All their great players were all drafted, man. They just kept drafting right players. Their offensive linemen, their linebackers.
So why can't they figure it out?
Because they're jinxed or Jerry Jones. I don't know, whatever. But I'm thinking. I was thinking about the Lions, and I'm like, when and why like the Giants and certain teams can't be successful. When you continuously miss on draft picks, you can't hit 1 or 2 out of
look
the
at
draft.
it. Speaking of that too, look at the Texans.
Well, they hit Hurts on
their first two picks are cornerstone players. CJ Stroud is a franchise quarterback right now.
They didn't lose out.
And they also got a guy like Nico Collins a couple years ago who's emerged as a top
Tank
15
Dell.
receiver.
CJ Stroud wanted Tank Dell.
Tank Dell. They got Tank Dell, who's before the injury was an electrifying player. Dalton Schultz has been there's a veteran presence, and they've been drafting well.
Tunsil they gave up, but they got a Surhead left tackle. They got some linebackers. They got some Devin Singletary Jr., the quarterback they drafted third 2 years ago. So they got he was the
Devin Singletary was the running back.
Oh, no. Well, it is Singletary Jr., but what is from LSU?
Oh, yeah. Derek Stingley Jr.
Derek Stingley. Well, my
Derek
God.
Stingley. Yeah, who's emerged as and you want to say I'm back? I say Aaron Hicks.
Well, listen,
you're gonna get this. You're gonna get a taste of your old medicine because I'm gonna call you out with it. But also, you just said it. Derek Stingley is another guy that they drafted high. He was battling injuries, but guess what? He's come on strong, and he might have a nice
in December.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's come on strong, and they might have found a nice cornerstone in that back end of that defense. But Ted just said it and said it perfectly. There's a reason why these teams are starting to put it all together because they hit on their drafts. The Giants, the reason why the Giants or teams like the Washington, no offense, that have not been successful is because they just don't hit it on the draft. The Lions have been a losing franchise for my entire life. And for the first time, I could say Lions outside the 49ers have by far the brightest future in the entire NFC. And I would say the Packers would be third. I say the Packers are third. But the Detroit Lions, think about it. We're never talking about the Detroit Lions. Now we're like, Detroit Lions could be playing on Conference Championship Sunday.
Could play in Super Bowl Sunday.
They could be playing on Super Bowl Sunday because they have the formula. I've been stressing it and emphasizing it throughout the entire season. They have the formula to beat the Niners. They could do it. It comes down to Jared Goff playing a familiar opponent. But Ted, you're 100% right. The draft, they hit it out. They hit it out of the park. And another team, the Green Bay Packers. And they draft well. I mean, we bashed them for so long because they don't give Rodgers help. And look at Jordan Love now. Rodgers waited so long to act, and now look at Jordan Love. They got the youngest team in football.
And all 4 receivers are all young. Dobbs had 7 catches for 151 yards. Reed, I had Jaden Reed. Christian Watson, I understand he's dealt with some hamstring injuries, but the kid Hicks, he had another great game. Luke Musgrave, the tight end, another guy they drafted out of Oregon State. Offensive line, every time the offensive line, they didn't have their all-pro left tackle in Bakhtiari, but their offensive line didn't hear one word about the Cowboys this weekend and their pass rush. Micah Parsons, quiet, never heard of him.
You said the word every time. I think we should say every time. Look at this, Green Bay Packers. They do it again somehow. I think teams should start following. Should teams start following the Green Bay model and go in 3 years?
Well, here's what I would say is this was a team that last year Aaron Rodgers couldn't get to the playoffs. This was Aaron Rodgers who couldn't beat the Detroit Lions the last game of the season when they needed to win and get in. And we talk about him as like he's one of the greatest ever. And I'm not knocking. He's talent-wise, he's one of the great. But if you watch that game Sunday, please don't tell me he didn't look like Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love.
That throw when he made it. That throw when he was like this, back foot after back. Yep.
Foot, flick of the wrist, the smooth throwing, the mobility when Aaron Rodgers was young.
And he's got some zip on that. He's got some zip on that ball.
He played with confidence. 21 touchdowns, 1 pick in the last since October. I believe it was like the 12th.
He's been incredible.
Minnesota when
incredible.
So what they have done with him, if they found another quarterback for the next 15 years.
Oh my God, yeah, I know.
You're talking about Favre to Rodgers. I mean, like
that's 45 years, and then they had Bart Starr. It's like Bart Starr, and then
Bart Starr a couple of years before that. But I mean, look at that.
I know. But look at the quarterbacks they've hit on right now.
They drafted young in the defensive line. They're the youngest team in football. They still need some work. I get it. The defense did not play well throughout the season, but if
they still got veteran presence. They still got the veteran presence. They got Gary.
You watch them Saturday against the Cowboys or Sunday against the Cowboys, they look too damn shabby with Joel Berry as the defensive coordinator. So, and they have a shutdown corner in Zaire Alexander. We'll see if he plays this weekend. I know that ankle, he hurt it again against Dallas. That'll be a key guy that they'll need this weekend. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the Packers' future and go, wow, we didn't do too bad. We let go of Aaron Rodgers. We're not too damn shabby.
And we're in the second weekend of the NFL playoffs.
And we're going to get another. I mean, imagine if Rodgers played this year, they would have another first-round pick. So they would have the Jets' first-round pick, which would have been in the top 10. So you think about the possibilities, but they have an extra second-round pick.
Think about that though, but they're starting to follow the model of look at the Kansas City Chiefs, how they did. They drafted all their offensive linemen, they drafted Kelsey, they drafted Mahomes, they put it all together, Pacheco, Rashee Rice, all these weapons, and now you're starting to see the Texans are doing it, the Lions are doing it,
Well,
and then you got the Packers are doing it.
Listen, veterans are key. But it's all about the youth. This game is all about the youth. Yeah. That's why old guys get pushed out. No, sorry, but Russell Wilson, you're old now. You had your time. You're no longer that guy. Rodgers, the Jets. If you're a Jets fan, and I don't want this is not supposed to be about the Jets or Rodgers or anything, but he's gonna be 40 years old next year. You think after coming off an Achilles, he's one step away from doing something again, and your offensive line is in shit.
Yeah.
So what would make you think, oh, I'm a Jets fan next year? What's going to get better? You don't have. What I would say is you got to trade one of your key defensive players next year to get some extra value in picks, because you got to get younger. This league is about youth. About youth.
Oh, maybe they'll hit on
young guys. If you look at the teams that are,
they got a top 10 pick. So.
But if you look at the teams that have been successful that win the Super Bowls, other than that Patriots team that beat the Rams a couple of years ago, majority of these teams win with youth players with a quarterback on a rookie deal, and they're able to sign key veteran players to help out shore up some position. If it's offensive line, pass rush, cornerback. But you look at the Chiefs when they won their Super Bowls, right? It was all Mahomes when he was on the rookie deal. Seattle when they had Russell Wilson, rookie deals. You look at these teams that are having most 49ers. I get it, but that's because Purdy's getting paid pennies on the dollar.
But you're saying, he's getting. But once those big contracts come, that's when you start. Everything starts to unfold. And
but I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco in 2 years says, you know what, we'll move on for Purdy and draft another young guy.
I mean, if he wins a Super Bowl this year, and they're competing again, which I highly expect to see them again in the Final Four next year, and if he wins again, you're going to just get rid of a two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback?
I would not be surprised because Kyle Shanahan said I can.
He wins a Super Bowl this year. Brock Purdy's going to get extended. If Jordan Love, the names that are just Jordan Love is going to get a contract. Jared Goff is going to get a contract. I can't wait to see what CJ Stroud's contract is going to look like.
Stop talking about it's 1 year. We got to wait 3 years.
I mean, come on, bro.
What we should be talking about if we're going to get the conversation is let's talk about the playoff teams. It's Tua. What do the Dolphins do with Tua? How much do you pay him? What do you pay him? Because this is a guy who threw for over 4,000 yards. When he plays in this system with Tyreek in the offense, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. Similar to the Hurts. He's a good quarterback. Similar to Dak and Hurts. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. And the problem is, if you look at the teams that you're going to face in the AFC for the next 10 years, unless something drastically happens to Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes or now CJ Stroud and Lamar Jackson and maybe someone else.
No, unless global warming just goes ape shit crazy. They're going to be playing in Cincinnati. They're going to be playing in Kansas City. They're going to be playing in Baltimore. They're going to be playing in Pittsburgh. They're going to be playing in
Buffalo.
What else? Buffalo. Yeah, thank you. Buffalo. You're going to if they figure out Denver's another team. I mean, you're gonna have a nice picking of the choosing, I guess.
And
Good luck.
He's limited. So what do you pay a guy like him, where you realize at the end of the day,
you got to start with the Daniel Jones. You got to start with the Daniel Jones contract. That's the starting point. That's the starting point.
He played in all 17 games, but he's one hit away and
he cannot get He cannot get $200 million.
I don't know what they do. They got to figure that out.
He cannot get $200 million. That is a contract, and they have said Chris Greer just came out, I think today or the other day, saying they want to get a long-term deal done. They're going to give him over $200 million. It is going to be a massive
Not your problem.
mistake.
Not your problem.
Oh, I get it. I'm just speaking on my opinion of what I feel. That is a massive, massive mistake.
I would say this. The way I look at Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan is the same way I look at Mike McDaniel. You could find another quarterback similar to Tua.
I think Purdy, if Purdy wins a Super Bowl this year, I'm very, very curious to know what his contract is going to be.
He will definitely get some incentive. I don't think he gets a major deal, but he's only
how not? Because look,
he's only
but think about hold on.
He was an
MVP candidate.
He's only in his third year.
I get it, but it's going to start coming up because if he wins a Super Bowl, he won Super Bowl MVP. Say he was top 3, top 4 in MVP this whole year, majority of the season. I mean, we're talking. Is he going to get $200 million?
I don't think they give him a big. I don't think they give him a big contract, but I think they give him a raise, something. I don't think they give him a $200 million. Listen, 49ers are not doing that. Not now. Another year. I'm telling you, it's
Oh,
going
they
to
got Bosa locked up. They got Debo locked up. They got Fred Warner. Trent Williams is going to retire soon.
Yeah, but this is only
He'll be off the books.
It's only his second year. That's why this team has to win.
Saying.
No, listen, I get it. Like a lot of these teams, once you pay the quarterback that big money.
And you also said before the show even started, you could just have a feel when you see a quarterback, you just feel it. You just like CJ Stroud, you could just see that man has.
You didn't have to wait till the playoff game to know he was a real
the presence, the accuracy, the leadership. Like they love him. Like he's all about the team.
Anthony Richardson, before he got
if
hurt,
Anthony Richardson could stay healthy, he could be something special in this league. Yeah, like a Cam, he could be a Cam.
Came in the league and Justin Herbert. They were legit guys. You like that guy.
Herbert, like a guy like it's crazy to even say, but a guy like Trevor Lawrence is still a guy that you're wondering if he's the guy.
Yeah,
there's not many guys that you look in the NFL right now and you're like, he has it. He has it. He's a guy that I want to build my franchise around. There's not a lot.
No, because even the guys we were talking about before with Jordan Love and Goff, they're not that guy.
I mean, Jordan Love.
No, I get it. Not yet. I got to see more.
He wins in San Fran. They got something special. You're just going to be like, here we go. You're going to be like, here we go again. Green Bay's got another guy. He wins this weekend. He wins this Saturday night. And he looks good again like he did on Sunday. You're going to be looking. You're going to be texting me like, they did it again.
What's the conversation if he gets smoked by San Francisco?
Got to see how he plays. But the whole team. I mean, there's a lot of, in the sense of like how they played Sunday, they played so perfectly. Like it's going to be, I mean, you're going against the best of the best now. You're going against San Fran, a defense that's dominant on all levels of the game, and their offenses, well, they score at a speed of light. They could, if they wanted to. They win this game. Yeah, they got something special brewing.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. I mean, I definitely want to wait until we talk about the games because there are games that there's possible upset potentials.
Yeah, we'll talk about the games later this week.
I definitely want to talk about it because we're in the Elite Eight now. Like CJ Stroud against Baltimore. I mean, never say never.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not. Did we expect the Dallas Cowboys to be losing 48-16 on Sunday night? Did we expect the Philadelphia Eagles to get embarrassed like that the other night? Yeah, Did we expect the Houston Texans to put on a nice 31-point blowout on the team that Cleveland found?
There was two pick sixes.
Get it. But that's credit to them, whole team. Good for them. Who's to say they can't do it?
Joe Flacco going back to old Joe Flacco.
Oh, come on. We were all on. We were loving Joe.
He had thrown like 8 picks. He threw 8 picks in 4 games.
Okay, so whatever. He takes chances.
I know. I get it.
What did we always bitch about with Daniel Jones?
And I'll put it this way. That Browns team was literally on its last, nerve. I mean, their whole team was falling apart. They had another tackle guy. They were down to the 5th and 6th tackles. You know what I mean? They were missing so many guys. I get it. The future in the NFL is great. And when you see young quarterbacks early in their careers play as well as we saw CJ Stroud and Jordan Love, you look at the league and go, we found another 2 young guys that are good. And then you just wonder, you got another draft class coming in this year with at least 4 or 5 quarterbacks going to be drafted in the first 35 picks. At least 4, possibly 5.
They're saying
2 of the 5 are going.
I'm thinking 6 quarterbacks are going in the first round.
You think J.J. McCarthy's the 6th?
I saw a mock draft that J.J. McCarthy was possibly going to go to the Raiders at 11.
I don't see it.
I would be a bit shocked by that. But there's a strong possibility that we're seeing 6 quarterbacks in the first round.
So that
3 are going in the top 5 or top 4.
3 are going in the top 10.
No.
Trades.
3 are going in the top 4.
So you think
Caleb Williams? It all depends on what Chicago does. I mean, that's one of the big questions going on in this.
Well, he entered the draft. So, but what I'm saying is, at least if there's at least 5 in the first round, 2 of them.
The only guy that would sneak his way in is Marvin Harrison Jr.
So I'm saying is, at least of the 5 quarterbacks in the first round, 2 of them are going to hit. So we'll have another 2 young good quarterbacks next year.
Maybe 3.
Possibly 3, but more likely not 2.
Yeah.
One being average and 2 just.
The year that Josh Allen Lamar, there was, I mean.
It was just them 2.
But Baker is starting to make a little case right now.
Well, he's making a career for himself.
For what he was last year to where he is now, he had his best season. I mean, if it wasn't for Cade Otton and Mike Evans, they would have put up possibly 50 last night. I mean, he was delivering. I mean, now you got to go to Detroit. You're going to go on the road. It's going to be a tougher game. They played early in the season. Tampa lost. But I mean, good for Baker.
Yeah.
He's making a case for himself to get a contract extension. Now, that's another. I mean, think about all the quarterbacks. There's going to be, oh my God.
Yeah,
this offseason is going to be wild. Yeah, especially now with the addition.
Any other season, though.
But no, think about it. Just put it all in perspective. Why this offseason is going to be so surreal. You think about the teams' openings right now, head coaches, the coaches that are available right now. We're talking Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, Mike Vrabel, Pete. Oh, no, he left. Pete Carroll. I'm just saying some of the names. He's back. He'll be back. But think about it. I wish he was hearing me. See, this is where he's got to hear me while I'm saying it. Now I feel like I got to just go put like a little break time, a little Jeopardy. Do. Nah. But what I was going to say is this upcoming offseason is going to be unlike anything. Head coaching. Where's Belichick going? He's going to Dallas. He's going to Philly. Where's Vrabel going? Where is Pete Carroll going? Where's Harbaugh going? Like, there's going to be an incredible offseason. Plus, you get the quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot of quarterback extensions. I hope you heard what I was saying.
Yeah, I heard everything.
Quarterback extensions. You're going to have Jared Goff possibly extended. You're going to have Jordan Love possibly extended. You're going to have maybe Brock Purdy, depending on his results. Tua. Like, there's a Dak Prescott, what's going to happen with him? I know it's Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. And then on top of it, we're really going to see what the true market for running backs are. That's why it's going to be something because
we talked about
but we're going to see, Ted, Saquon's going to be available. Derrick Henry's going to be available. Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs. There's going to be other guys coming in and out, but those are some of the biggest names in all the football for running back.
And then we said before earlier, Jamar Chase is up for a contract. As I said, Justin Jefferson wants a new contract. Amon St. Brown.
Dude, this is going to be.
This is why football dominates the airways.
You can't say that it's not anything different than because I said like from head coach and you get running backs, you get quarterbacks.
We've never seen a coaching carousel.
Carousel like this
of options. I mean, you're talking about Harbaugh, Belichick, Vrabel. Tomlin said he's coming back, but
Tomlin, Pete Carroll, Ben Johnson.
Yeah, maybe Dan Quinn. I get it. His last game looks like shit, but still, we'll see what happens. Mike McCarthy and Nick Sirianni get fired. What's to say that someone else doesn't pick them up? You know what I mean? And then there's other guys that we're just not even thinking of right now because the names of
Belichick, a wild offseason, bro.
Carroll and Harbaugh are so big. You know what happens there? So it's very interesting.
This is going to be a wild offseason. All I know is the playoffs. For us, me and Ted couldn't have started any better.
Now we just
cannot wait to see what divisional round of the playoffs look like. We got some hell of a matchup. We'll be back later on talking about it. We got to talk about it. Bills, Chiefs, Texans, Ravens, the number 1 seed. Any chance of upsets? Packers, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love. Ted, what do we feel? I don't know. Have to stay tuned. See you later on in the week with Keys to the City. All right.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.